All right, I finished. Uh, that was a big one. That was a big one. And I'll say this: the last chapter and the epilogue were powerful. The chapter, with the defense of the first throne with Trull, Onrak, and Alrada On turns and joins Trull, and Ikariam shows up, and looks like Quickpen shows up, and Cotillion is going, what a mess. I loved it. And in the epilogue, we get Cutter thinking about Apsalar. We get this thing with Karsa. Whew. And also in the chapter before, it must have been 24 maybe, Lestara Breed showed back up. I don't know how she got out of there. Now it was mentioned that Lagana, who I thought was a girl for a long time, Lagana had a Tistandi head, so maybe they left the Tistandi head in there and bounced. But that's pretty cool. And also called Stormy, like the storm, the shield anvil, which I don't understand if that's for real or if that's just a big mistake, because would that make Gessler something and then Truth something? Who knows? I thought it was very sweet at the end of the whole thing with Tavor and Tamber, where Tamber falls, and then this glowing kind of person, the aerosol, shows up and kisses her on the forehead, thanking her, and it looks like she's been using her a little bit for a lot of things. And I wonder how much Tavor knew about that, but it sounds like maybe she kind of was not totally unaware of that happening. And we also have the aerosol in that last chapter with the defense, and only she could kind of calm down Ikariam and have him swept away. But not swept away, but you know what I mean. Anyway, very excited about the series. Yeah, and I hope, sometimes it's the Canadian in me when I'm kind of saying what I haven't liked, and people get that as being apologetic, and I don't feel like it is trying to be apologetic when I'm kind of trying to figure out what went wrong. I think a part of it is when I was reading the Bonehunters, as well as with Midnight Tides, even though I like both of the books, I was looking at it a little bit from a writer's perspective and a reader's perspective, where I always am looking in the books that I'm reading for where the promises are, where the early promises are. And sometimes we get resolution of those initial promises, or sometimes they sort of switch to other things, and we get something better that we didn't even know we wanted. And I think on this one, in retrospect, the promises were all there, but I was still looking for this final conclusion with Trull from the end of the House of Chains, and I'm glad that we finally got it, but it took 2 books to get there. Now, I mentioned this on the Discord. I think I was giving the spotlight to, I wasn't able to share the spotlight from Ganos and Perrin and Ganos is Ganos, Tavor herself, Karsa, Mappo, and Ikariam, and I wasn't able to really enjoy the spotlight as it was on the namesake of this book, these Bonehunters. So I think in that case, I was still seeing them as side characters. When really, if I would have allowed myself to be more invested when I was with them, I might have enjoyed the conclusion a little bit more. Does that make sense? And I know people will take that as being apologetic, and you don't have to explain yourself, but that's, that's what this channel is. It's explaining what I'm thinking about something. Like, even if it wasn't to you, I'd be thinking, I wonder what went wrong with this series or with this book, or with my reading of this book in this series that I really, really love. I would be kind of going through these motions anyway. So don't worry about me when I am negative about the book, okay? Or when I'm trying to process through what went wrong with my reading of it. So don't worry about that. I am excited to get to the next one, whenever that's going to be. I'm feeling a hankering for a couple other things, probably in sci-fi, so I might get one or two things there. I'm thinking probably getting Golden Sun in, probably getting Hyperion in, because that is one that I've had on my reading list probably longer than any other. I bought it probably in 2008 or something like that, and it's been just sitting behind me. And a buddy every summer goes, "Hey, did you read it? Did you read it? Can we talk about it?" And I just haven't. And I love Dan Simmons. Thinking of maybe getting to the second Children of Time book by Adrian Tchaikovsky. So I don't know if I'll do that. There's a lot of things. There are a lot of things I'd like to get to. I may even get to just literary fiction something, or a purely historical nonfiction something. I know I have a bunch of those. So I'm not sure. I'm not sure what's going to be next in between. It may be that now that I'm done, I just need a couple breaths to kind of now let everything sink. Now, between books, usually, when you're reading books and you're waiting for, you're putting some time in between, it gives enough time for the excitement between books to kind of go back to their regular levels. And then when you start the new book, then you're riding on the excitement of the book you're reading. I think I need a bit of that. I think for the sake of the series, which totally deserves it, I need to allow those energy levels to come back down to where they should be, because I'm riding on the energy levels of House of Chains and all these other things as if this is one long sequence. And it is, but by doing that, I know I'm not giving the book that I'm on its fair due. I've been riding on the epilogue of the House of Chains for 2 books. And now that we got some of that, I think this would be a good time to maybe get a couple other books in, and then come back with fresh eyes and no expectations. And I think don't let me know in the next books when something is coming up. I don't think it spoiled anything, but I know I was so excited for the conclusion of the Bonehunters, and my imagination went one way where I thought it was going to go, and when I didn't get that, I thought, oh crap. And yeah, that just happens. That just happens. Yeah, so I will see you on the next one. I don't know when this next one is going to be. I don't know if I will be posting any of my thoughts on these other books. Maybe just a book, something at the end, but I'm not going to force anything. And we will see. I'm pretty sure this is not a point to read another Malazan book that is not part of the Book of the Fallen. So we will see. But that was a big fat book. And in some ways, it was one of my favorite books. The journey really didn't slow down at any point in the way. So it was always at this level for me, like at a high level. It wasn't a chore to get through. But yeah, I do just enjoy talking about what I think, where I think some of my expectations went a little off the rails for those last chapters. And don't take that as apologies and things like that. What this channel is just a side thing for me reading books. But as I'm reading books, I'm always just thinking about how I would do things if I was writing this next chapter or this scene or whatever like that. So when I'm talking like that and getting all grumpy pants sour, just know that in a lot of ways that's just me trying to internalize that. So that'll be the last I say on that, I think, at least for now. I'm not going to do a ranking of the books so far because I do feel like they are just one grand story. But if I was, I think in general I'm high on this book. And yeah, in general, it had some of the greatest moments. The greatest moments. So, and we did get the resolution that, or the moment in the end that I thought we were going to get, and I spoke a little bit too soon. So that's when you do a video at the end of the sub-book, or at the end of the book, instead of doing your final thoughts when you haven't even gotten to the end. So that's another thing to learn too. Anyway, I will talk to you on the next one.